Right now, somewhere in the world, a woman is telling a man no, or she's just showing him quietly that she's not interested. It might be a first date. It might be a marriage of 20 years. And in the next 24 hours, on average, 140 women will be killed by a man they knew, usually the one they were trying to leave. This is the most dangerous moment in a woman's life, and it's caused by one word. In 2014, a 22-year-old man got in his black BMW, drove to a sorority house in California, and killed 6 people. His stated reason: women wouldn't sleep with him. He left behind a 137-page document. He called it My Twisted World. It began with one word: rejection. This is what happens in a man's brain when a woman says no. In 2003, 3 neuroscientists at UCLA, Naomi Eisenberger, Matthew Lieberman, and Kipling Williams, put volunteers inside brain scanners. They gave them a simple video game called Cyberball. You toss a ball back and forth with 2 other players. Then, mid-game, the other 2 just stop throwing to you. That's the entire experiment. You've been left out. When they looked at the scans, they saw something strange. The parts of the brain that lit up were the same parts that light up when you break a bone. The dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, the anterior insula, the regions that process physical pain. To the brain, being rejected is being injured. That's why heartbreak physically hurts. That's why the word no doesn't feel like information. It feels like a wound. Now, here's where it gets darker. Roy Baumeister and Jean Twenge, working at Case Western, ran a series of experiments in the early 2000s. They rejected people from a group task, then gave them a chance to hurt someone. The rejected people were significantly more aggressive. Not sadder, not quieter, more aggressive. Rejection doesn't make humans withdraw. It makes them lash out. But this happens to everyone: men, women, children. Everyone's brain treats rejection like a broken rib. So why is it men who kill? Because for a lot of men, a woman's no isn't heard as a preference. It's heard as a verdict on their looks, on their worth, on their status, on whether they are, in the words of every incel forum online, a man at all, psychologist Geraldine Downey at Columbia calls this rejection sensitivity. Some people expect rejection, perceive it faster, react to it harder. Her studies show high rejection sensitivity men are more likely to become violent toward female partners. Not because they're more rejected, but because they read neutral behavior as proof that the rejection they already feared is happening. She didn't text back. She looked at another man. Verdict rendered. And then there's entitlement. Sociologist Rachel Jukes led one of the largest studies of male violence ever conducted across 9 countries in Asia and the Pacific, published in The Lancet in 2013. She found the strongest predictor of a man raping or killing a woman wasn't poverty, wasn't drinking. It was the belief that he was owed access to her, that her body, her attention, her yes was something he had a right to. And a no was theft called those 2 things. A brain that treats rejection as physical injury. A belief system that treats a woman's autonomy as a robbery. That's the psychological equation behind what comes next. It usually doesn't start with murder. It starts with the switch. You've probably seen it. A man is polite, warm, complimentary. She says she's not interested, and in 1 second, he becomes a different person. Ugly, bitch, whore. You'll regret this. The compliment and the threat come from the same place. Both are the price of admission he thinks he's paying for a yes. If she blocks him, he makes new accounts. This is called stalking. In the United States, about 1 in 3 women will be stalked in her lifetime. That's from the CDC's National Intimate Partner and Sexual Violence Survey. The vast majority of stalkers are men they know. Usually men they rejected. If she moved on, he escalates. He shows up at her work. He tells her friends lies about her. He threatens to release private photos. He may leak them. This is called coercive control, a term coined by sociologist Evan Stark. It's not one act. It's a pattern of surveillance, isolation, and intimidation designed to punish her for leaving. And if she still doesn't come back, in some cases, he kills her. The United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime tracks this globally. In 2022, they estimated that 133 women and girls were killed every day by a partner or family member. About 1 every 11 minutes. Femicide isn't rare. It's one of the leading causes of death for women aged 15 to 44. And in more than half of those cases, the killer is the man she said no to. December 6, 1989. A man walks into the École Polytechnique in Montreal with a rifle. He separates the men from the women. He tells the women he is fighting feminism. He kills 14 women. His suicide note names women who rejected him. May 23, 2014. Isla Vista, California. Elliot Rodger, 6 killed, 14 wounded. He uploads a YouTube video the day of. The title is Retribution. He says the word punishment 7 times. April 23, 2018. Toronto. Alec Manassian drives a rental van down Yonge Street. 10 killed. 8 of them women. Minutes before, he posted online praising Rodger and declaring an incel rebellion. Criminologist Neil Websdale, who has studied hundreds of femilicides and femicides, calls this the announcement. These men almost always tell someone. A note, a post, a threat to a coworker, a promise to the woman herself. The warnings are almost always there. What's missing is someone taking them seriously. Here's the part every safety expert wants people to hear. The most dangerous moment in an abusive relationship is not while she's in it. It's when she tries to leave. Legal scholar Martha Mahoney gave this a name in 1991. Separation assault. The specific violence a man commits at the moment his control over her is slipping. Jacqueline Campbell, a nursing professor at Johns Hopkins, spent decades building something called the Danger Assessment, a checklist of risk factors that predicts intimate partner homicide. Her data shows more than 70% of intimate partner femicides occur during, or right after, an attempt to leave. Not before. After. A woman saying no to a date, to a marriage, to a 5th chance is not walking away from danger. She's walking into it. We tell women to be careful. We teach them to smile softly when they refuse, to let him down easy, to not make him angry, to pretend they have a boyfriend because his invented threat is somehow more real than her actual answer. We have made no into a favor she owes him, instead of a right she was born with. But no is not an injury, it's information. A man who cannot hear it is not heartbroken. He's dangerous, not because rejection wounds him. Everyone gets wounded, but because he decided her word was worth less than his want. The women in those cases weren't unlucky. They were just the ones who said no.